we got the 101s, Moorish questionnaire. Little side notes. All right. So we got number one. Who made you? Allah. Little side notes for Allah. We're dealing with matriarchal law pertaining to the zodiac. Who is Allah? Allah is the father of the universe. And once again, I think we talked about this Sunday. Father is a process that mother uses to bring forth beings to the earth. Can we see him? No. Where is the nearest place we can meet him? In the heart. Who is Noble Jew Ali? He is Allah's prophet. What is a prophet? A prophet is a thought of Allah manifest in the flesh. What is the duty of a prophet? To save nations from the wrath of Allah. Who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America? Noble Jew Ali. What year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? 1913. What context on the side? 1913 was the Old Canaanite Temple. 1925, Moorish Holy Temple of Science. 1928, Moorish Science Temple of America. Where was it founded? Newark, New Jersey. Where was Noble Jew Ali born? In the state of North Carolina, 1886. What is his nationality? Moorish American. Or Moabite Al-Moroccan. What is your nationality? Moorish American. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. For what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? For uplifting fallen humanity. How did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves. In other words, in propria persona sui juris. What is our religion? Islamism. And of course, we know religion dealing with binding back or realignment. Is it a new or is it an old time religion? Old time religion. What kind of flag is the Moorish? It is a red flag with a 5-point green star in the center. What do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. How old is our flag? It is over 10,000 years old. Which is our holy day? Friday. Why? Because Friday is the day on which man was formed in flesh, and it was on Friday when he departed out of flesh. Who was Jesus? He was a prophet of Allah. Where was he born? In Bethlehem of Judah, in the house of David. Who were his father and mother? Joseph and Mary. Will you give in brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came? Some of the great fathers, though, through which Jesus came are Abraham, Boaz by Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Ezekiel, and Joseph by Mary. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? To save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the pale-skinned nations of Europe who were governing a portion of Palestine at that time. How long has that been? About 2,000 years ago. What was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess. What is the modern name for the Moabites? Moroccans. Where is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexico. What is the modern name for Mexico? Africa. What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco? Sultan. Where do we get the name Jesus? From the East. What does Jesus mean? Jesus means justice. Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Yes, but it cannot be used by those who were slaves to sin. What is an angel? An angel is a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. Who are angels used for? To carry messages to the four corners of the world to all nations. And as you can see, the side notes synonymous with prophet, because a prophet is a messenger. So angels are carrying messages, and a prophet means messenger. There you have it. What is our prophet to us? He is an angel of Allah, or a messenger of Allah, right? Who was sent to us to bring the everlasting gospel of Allah. What is the everlasting gospel? It is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet. What is the covenant of the great God Allah? Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah hath given thee. At what age did Jesus begin to teach? At the age of 12. Where did he teach? India, Africa, and Europe. How long did he teach? 18 years. What did Jesus say that would make you free? The truth. What is truth? Truth is ought. What is ought? Ought is Allah. Can truth change? Truth cannot change or pass away. What other name do we give to truth? The holy breath. What have you to say about the holy breath? All we can say is, it is great, it is good, it was, it is, and evermore to be. Amen. At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed? In the Garden of Eden. Where is the Garden of Eden? In the land of Canaan, in the city of Mecca. What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden? Mecca. What is the name of the first physical man? His name cannot be used only by executive rulers of the AC, Moorish Science Temple. What are the words AC of the Moorish Science Temple of America? Adept Chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Third Heaven. Who were Adam and Eve? They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslim. Where did they go? They went into Asia. What is the modern name given to their children? Asiatics. Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away? Angels or prophets. What is the modern name for those angels? Asiatics. What is the shade of their skin? Olive. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to those angels? Yes, we all have the same father and mother. Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. What is the devil sometimes called? The lower self. How many selves are there? 2. Name them. Higher self and lower self. What people represent the higher self? The angels who protect the holy city of Mecca. What people represent the lower self? Those who were cast out of the holy city and those who accept the teaching, accept their teaching. What is the higher self? The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life, and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Can the higher self pass away? No. Why? Because it is Allah and man. Little side notes. Once again, we deal with Allah, matriarchal law pertaining to the zodiac. And mind. What does the lower self breed? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met him? Where are you going, Satan? What was the answer the lower self gave to the higher self? I am going to and fro the earth, seeking whom I may devour. Has he finished his task of devouring? Yes. When was his time declared out? When he nailed Jesus on the cross. What are the last words Jesus uttered? It is finished. What did he have reference to? He had reference to the end of Satan. Did Jesus say that he would return to conquer him? Yes. What is the name of the person into whom Jesus was first reincarnated? Prophet Muhammad, the conqueror. Was Satan to be bound then? Satan was to be bound in part. When was the head of Satan taken off? 1453, Byzantine. By whom? By Muhammad. And the whole Byzantine is, once again, we look into the Ottoman, the movie The Ottoman. You'll see Constantine was part of the Byzantine Empire, which later became the Roman Empire. Name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of Northwest by the European nations in 1774. Negro, black, colored, Ethiopian. What is meant by the word Negro? Negro, a name given to a river in West Africa by the Moors because it contained black water. What is meant by the word black? Black, according to science, means death. What does the word colored mean? Color means anything that has been painted, stained, varnished, and dyed. What does Ethiopia mean? Ethiopia means something divided. Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian? No. Why? Because man is made in the image and likeness of God Allah. What title does Satan give himself? God. Will you define the word white? White means purity. Purity means God, and God means the ruler of the land. So whom do we refer to at times as being the great God Allah, the great God? Allah. Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah? No, he is the shadow of our lower selves and will pass away. Who made the devil? Elohim. Who was Elohim? Elohim is the seven creative spirits that created everything and that ever was, is, and ever will be. What is Elohim sometimes called? The seven eyes of Allah. How many days are in the circle? 7 days. How many days are in creation? 7 days. According to science, how many days are in a year? 7 days. Any questions on the 101s before we transition to the divine constitution? All right. Brother Toledo, Islam.
Islam.
The Divine Constitution of Moorish America. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on Friday, the first man was formed in flesh. And on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the law of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and take after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure, love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Any questions on the divine constitution? Specifically, I think Sharissa, was this new to you, the 101s and the divine constitution? Have you read this before?
Some of it, yeah, it's kind of new to me.
Okay. Okay. What about you, brother Sharif Gamble Bay? This new to you or a repetition?
Nah, brother, I haven't heard this before.
You haven't?
Nah, I have.
Okay. It's already in the forefront of your mind. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right. Brother Rashard Caldwell. Is this information new to you?
I've heard some of it, and a couple people's live, they spoke on it. But for the most part, all this information is new to me.
Okay. All right, cool. Hanuna Islam.
Islam, everybody. Peace and love.
Islam, mother.
Islam.
But yeah, these are things to keep in the forefront of our mind. Keeps us grounded, keeps us on course. We have a constitution for Moorish America. And it's good to have in the forefront. All right. So continuing in the book, Are You Confused About Law? So the truth about cannabis. As Moors, Aboriginal and Indigenous people, we have the right to preserve and use cannabis, and we do not need a state license to exercise our rights. There's nothing wrong with the word Black or Indian. The issue is, as long as you identify with something outside of your bloodline, you abandon your estate, all hereditaments, corporal or incorporeal, to include the abandonment of all human rights, inclusive of any secure rights protected within treaties made by the national government associated with the bloodline. This is the stance that Moors take. There is nothing wrong with Black. It just does not connect you to the human family. It is not a bloodline. It's as simple as that. As for the word Indian, it is not ours. It belongs to the Hindus. We cannot transact business in another man's name and expect to be seen as an honorable people. Moorish American, Al-Moroccan American, Moabite, etc., all connect you back to a bloodline, ancient history, culture, laws, etc. The word Black originates in the 1100s and is not ancient. There is much for all of us to learn. The so-called Indians, so-called Blacks, and nationalized Moors need to share information amongst each other, as we have a lot more in common than we think. Upon a brief conversation and sharing of information, we will quickly learn that we have the same culture. If you can accept an adjective as an identity because a European told you that's what you were, then why can't you accept an actual noun as an identity? It's historically and grammatically correct. Historically, we were known as Moors before European conquest. If you cannot identify with a term if you can identify with the term that doesn't properly describe what you look like, then why not identify with the noun that connects you to your history? Does it make sense to identify with the word that you know is a color and not a bloodline, yet deny identifying with the Moorish bloodline because you don't know much about it? Logically, you would identify with the proper noun and not an adjective, right? Our people clearly do not have an identity, as it has changed every 20 years or so, from nigger, coon, shine, Black, African-American, colored, even Afro-American. I guess that name didn't stick because we would be identifying with a hairstyle. Logically, we would figure out we don't have a real identity. Based on observation, our people cling to the word Black for emotional reasons. We think that just because we say Black with pride, it actually means something. Yet, nothing has changed for our people. We cling to it because we have nothing. Our people think if you take the word Black away from them, as it is all we know, then you take their identity. Yet, it isn't an identity. It is a term. The Negro, as they were called in this nation, have no nation to which they might look with pride. Their history starts with the close of the Civil War, or more properly, with being forced to serve someone else. Thus, he is separated from the illustrious history of his forefathers, who were the founders of the first civilization of the old world. This matter should be looked into with a hope of correcting it. That's a quote from Moorish literature. Also, if we were brought over from Africa, why aren't none of our families looking for us over there? Even Hu Xin looked for his family, the lost people of the dark Chinese, and came to America and eventually came across our ancestors of the Olmecs. So 400 years go by, and not one of our family members care to come find us? Wouldn't you go find your family and take them back home? Right? And back to the example, I think I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. There's nobody over there saying that their ancestors got shipped to America. You don't hear that type of talk, right? Razir Bey, Islam. So Article 24, United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Indigenous people have the right to their traditional medicines and to maintain their health practices, including the conservation of vital medicinal plants. That's a connection with the cannabis. We first popped the line off, the first couple sentences, right? Medicinal plants, animals, and minerals. Indigenous individuals also have the right to access without discrimination to all social and health services. Most Blacks who think that the UNDRIP, or United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, don't apply to them, I suggest they reference the Inter-American definition on who is defined as an indigenous person. For the purposes of encouraging you to do your own research, I will refrain from attaching a copy of the document in this book. But, what he's referring to is you have two versions of the rights of indigenous people. The Inter-American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. We're in America. So, that's more comprehensive for where we're at right now. Razir Bey, Islam.
Islam, Moor. Peace. Peace to the Moors. Peace and love to the Moors. Peace and love to the family, Moor.
Islam, Melville. Pray love, boy.
Pray love to the Lord.
Islam,
Yeah.
Empress.
Safe travel, Melville. Travel safe, more. I love you, more. It's good to see you.
I love you too, Moor. Appreciate you, Moor.
Right there in the building.
I made my way. I found my way, Blaze. I found my way.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, man.
Dang, good to be seen. Good to see you as well, GS.
All right, so I was skipping over some stuff because I know based on the group here, we already pretty much went over that. So this is the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights. Article 7, all are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination in violation of this declaration and against any incitement of such discrimination. Article 8, everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted by the Constitution or by law. Article 9, no one shall be subject to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. Article 10, everyone is entitled to full equality, to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in determination of his rights and obligations and of any criminal charge against him. Article 11. Everyone charged with a penal offense has the right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty according to law in a public trial, at which he has had all the guarantees necessary for his defense. No one shall be held guilty of any penal offense on account of any fact of act or omission which did not constitute a penal offense under the national or international law. Right, so it's distinguishing penal from international. International would trump penal. At the time when it was committed, nor shall a heavier penalty be imposed than the one that was applicable at the time the penal offense was committed. Article 12, no one should be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to be protected to the protection of the law against such interference and attacks. See how the human rights cross references with the Bill of Rights. Right, so Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment. You see how we're going to see how they're in harmony with international law. The Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, house, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So when we think about a warrant, these are the elements of a warrant. So it's a warrant attached to somebody that took an oath to the Constitution. And the warrant is very specific on what is being searched, not just like a freestyle of I'm coming through. All right. The Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. So that's part of the due process. When you hear that word due process, or my due process was violated. Due process is an order of events before you're charged. So for one, injured party, written affidavit, takes that to a grand jury, the grand jury indicts you, then the ball gets rolling. If that doesn't take place, then it's called ex post facto law, which is law after the fact, and that's a violation of Article 1 of the Constitution. If that doesn't take place as well, then if you got something in the mail or some, policy enforcer handed you something and there was steps missing, then they're giving you a bill of attainder, which is a violation of Article 1 of the Constitution as well, because steps were not taken. They're skipping steps, so therefore your due process is being violated. Of course, we know, we heard, I plead the Fifth before we even got into the constitutional law. I'm pretty sure we heard shows and different people say, oh, I plead the Fifth, right? Basically, no double jeopardy and things of that nature, right? So the Sixth Amendment, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy trial and public trial by an impartial jury. So that goes back to the jury of your peers. You're not Black, Negro, colored, Hispanic, Latino, Puerto Rican, Indian, Native American anymore because you're the Moor. So therefore your peers, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. This is what that stems from, the Sixth Amendment. An impartial jury of the state and district where the crime shall be committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law. So whatever district they're talking about need to be ascertained by law, which means informed of what the law is of the land, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, and to be confronted with the witness against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assences of counsel for his defense. So informed of the nature of the accusation. That's back to injured party, sworn affidavit, examining what that affidavit is saying that you did to them. Either you injured them or their property or whatnot. That's called discovery. We have the right to discovery. What are all the elements involved that led to you being charged? You have the right to examine that. The Seventh Amendment. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. So, little tickets and things like that, there's typically no trial. They'll have an officer come in. Little stuff like that. That's a violation. Because the ticket typically is more than $20. They're trying to be like, it's a fine of $100, $200, $300. So all that, anything more than $20, it needs to be a jury, not just one officer coming in saying what happened or whatever. The Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail should not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Amendment 9. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or the people. So the power back to the people. And if anything is not explicitly talked about in the Constitution, then it's back to the right to the people. I actually was in court with a magistrate that's trying to pull a little stunt with this Amendment 10 thing. He was trying to make it seem like the powers are back to the people, like, because they'll be like the people, like whoop-de-woo versus the people of the state of California. But that just sounds real cute. It's nobody who, the DA is saying he's the people of California, right? But that's not what it means in this context. It's the people in general. People with nationalities. The DA is not the people. Or he would have had an affidavit saying you injured him. That's basically what he's saying. He's trying to allude to the fact that you injured the DA. Well, you know what I'm saying? So he's not the people, or she's not the people. Gun charges. It is in fact that we have the right to bear arms supported by the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Of course, there's levels of exercise and based on the conditions of our people at the moment. So everything is context. Not necessarily context, but discretion on you on how you want to exercise based on what's going on at the moment. So the language is necessary for the security of a free state. But we know a state is a body politic. So, of course, the tighter the body politic, the bigger, the more organized, there's more things or levels of enforcement, right? So, what Noble Joe Ali say, caveat emptor, right? I'm actually gonna stop right here and open the floor for, in fact, let me turn this off while I'm thinking about it.